What happens when a minister goes on national radio and forgets everything?
Just remind listeners where the new crossing is, where it takes off and where it lands.
It's...
But how much is the crossing going to cost, Secretary?
You
don't know that either, do you, actually?
I don't have the detail of the Hammersmith Bridge.
But that's one of the key bridges that can't support any vehicles, let alone the heaviest of vehicles.
Today, the government came out and announced that it's investing $10 billion in Britain's bridges. However, the minister didn't seem to know much about London's bridges, which was pretty poor considering she was on London Broadcasting Corporation, and there are only two bridges that really need focus on. That's Hammersmith, which has been closed for years, and also the Lower Thames Bridge, which is arguably one of their biggest and most important projects for London and the UK.
A substantial part of this £1 billion restructures fund will also go to the Lower Thames crossing, which has been long in planning, but not really taken forward. And obviously the congestion around the Dartmouth Tunnel is a real problem for getting lorries moving between the north and the Midlands and the ports in the south
Dartford
east.
Tunnel, I think.
Sorry, I meant Dartford. Excuse me. Dartford Tunnel.
It's Dartmouth, that would be one hell of a crossing, that one.
It's because I'm obsessed with that part of the world. I meant Dartford, excuse me. I had a very early morning.
I know the feeling.
Dartford Tunnel. Yes, I'm sure you did too.
Mistakes happen, it's no big deal, but of course Nick doesn't drop it there. He presses the minister for more details, just to test the water.
Just remind listeners where the new crossing is, where it takes off and where it lands.
It's... you'll forgive me, I can't recall the exact landing zones.
So the crossing that you're talking about, you don't know where it is?
Well, it's the Lower Thames crossing,
yes,
which has been in planning for many, many years, and it is to enable, essentially, people to not have to take the Dartford Tunnel, which is a huge problem, Dartford Tunnel, and it's to enable businesses, lorries, people doing business, but lorries in particular, who are coming from the Midlands and the North to key ports in the south east. That's what we're...
It's almost as if you were reading from a piece of paper there, isn't it? you don't actually know where it takes off from or where it lands, do you?
You'll forgive me, Nick, but this is part of a broader 10-year infrastructure strategy that we will be launching later this week. And it is vital that we ensure that we improve our infrastructure, which is absolutely central to economic growth across the country and delivering better jobs and better wages for people.
I don't want to go on about this, but it is about the 19th word in the press release, the Lower Thames crossing. Let me tell you, Gravesend in Kent, Tilbury in Essex, those are the two towns.
Tilbury, it was Tilbury that I couldn't,
You're an LBC, and you clearly haven't written your brief, and you're with Nick Ferrari, who is all about these little details. He did the same thing to the Conservative mayoral candidate for London.
Would you alter bus fares?
You're going back to finance again.
What is the bus fare? How much do you pay to get on a bus currently?
I don't use them. I use trains all the time.
You don't know what a bus fare is?
No.
Susan, you don't know who owns Hammersmith Bridge, you don't know what a police officer makes, and you don't know the bus fare.
I said to you in the 30s, as you full well know. I use lots of trains to get around London.
£1.75 is a bus fare.
And then I stumbled across this video, and it shows the damage not having another tunnel or bridge across the east of London is causing to the general economy of Britain.
Our assessments show that this congestion costs the UK economy more than £500,000 every day to time lost sat in traffic. That's equivalent to more than £200 million every year. And a further £2 billion will have been lost by the time the Lower Thames crossing is due to open to traffic.
That's a 5-minute video she could have watched before going on to Nick Ferrari that would have given her all the details, and she didn't watch it.
How much is it going to cost?
Well, it's going to cost quite a lot of money, but we today are announcing £590 million towards that cost. We'd already put some money in the autumn budget into this project, but we want this to be a public-private partnership because there are significant benefits, obviously, to the private sector.
But how much is the crossing going to cost, Secretary?
Well, overall, it's going to cost several £1 billion.
How many? You don't know that either, do you, actually?
Well, it has already cost quite a lot of money.
I don't wish to be rude to you personally. Is there much point continuing this conversation? Because you don't know where a bridge starts, you don't know where it ends, and you don't know how much it costs. So is there any point
as I
continuing?
said, the money that we are putting in is crucial to unlocking this project, which has been years in planning.
Secretary. You don't know how much it is.
Well, it's several billion, as I've said.
It's 10 billion, to put you out of your misery.
10 billion.
Yeah, so it's not several, it's 10. What does this say about the economic stewardship of this country, that someone in your position of importance, you don't know where a bridge starts, you don't know where it ends, and you don't know how much it costs? What does that say to you?
Well, I'm here to talk about the broader infrastructure plan as well that we will be launching later this week.
It's hard to get away from the fact that this is just a bit of a car crash of an interview from someone who clearly hasn't read their brief. But it also slightly makes you wonder whether or not they are taking these projects that seriously, or if it's just a vanity project. If we head from Tower Bridge and go west, you've got crossings every few hundred metres. Go east and there are hardly any bridges, in London at least. I mean, Dartford's actually outside of London. It's almost as if over the last century, governments haven't really wanted the east side of London to be developed. The population is made up of millions and there are 0 bridges. There's a ferry that no one wants to go on, a cable car system that only has 4 regular commuters. There is the Silvertown Tunnel, but it's almost, what's the point? There's already ways of getting across to the opposite side of London, and it really just encourages more cars. But there is a more historical set of reasons, and geographical set of reasons for this. The Thames on the western side is narrower, so it's cheaper to build the bridges there. The eastern side turns into an estuary with tides, which obviously then makes it harder to build. And historically, the City of London was the main port for the British Empire, and of course that meant don't build bridges because they get in the way of the ships. But also the East End of London has always been poor, and let's face it, most governments don't have much interest in helping poor people. West London got rich people, royal parks and rowing clubs. East London got container ports, pollution, and a tunnel from 1897 that you can only walk through. So why did this happen? What's really stopping the progress? Well, number one, the Country and Planning Act, a post-war policy that made it absurdly difficult to build anything fast. Endless red tapes, environmental reviews, local consultations, then consultations on consultations. Number two, local opposition. You see, when governments do try to build something, say a bridge through Plumstead, residents understandably don't want a motorway through their homes. And number three, inequality. When West London needed a new bridge fixed, like Hammersmith, it got attention. When East London asked for one, they got car tunnels and tolls and excuses. And speaking of Hammersmith Bridge, our final part of the interview.
Well, for the benefit of my listeners, I will continue. When will the Hammersmith Bridge problem be resolved?
I'm not here to talk about the Hammersmith Bridge. I'm not a transport minister.
But you're talking about infrastructure. You're talking. Sorry, I thought we just talked about 3,000 bridges that are unable to support the heaviest vehicles.
I don't have the detail of the Hammersmith Bridge.
But that's one of the key bridges that can't support any vehicles, let alone the heaviest of vehicles. So clearly that must figure in this.
The plan, the money that we are allocating today will go to such bridges, to go to repair bridges, yes, and to make sure that those bridges can take a load. And as you said at the top, there
yes,
are 3,000 bridges across the country that can't take a load.
Right. And one key one is the Hammersmith Bridge. So that's not part of this at all.
There will be Hammersmith Bridge and others will be, but that will be down to local. I mean, look, I can't come on your programme and give you the dates for every 3,000 bridge that will be.
I'm merely asking that one of particularly. It's been closed, I think, for around 6 years. We hear of a new initiative by the newish government, 3,000 bridges. One of the ones that really jumps off the page, of course, is Hammersmith Bridge. And you don't know whether any of these funds are going towards Hammersmith. Is that correct?
I can't name every one of the 3,000 bridges.
Respectfully, I've not asked for that, have I, Secretary? I've just asked, can you confirm that it is going to get some of the funds from this £1 billion?
Well, further detail will be set out in written statements.
How bad do you think that went? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Now, I'm pretty happy that this tunnel is going ahead, but I think there's a lot more that can be done. And strangely enough, there's actually quite a few sets of bridges that have been started but never completed. There's the Thames Gateway Bridge in the 2000s, which was shut down by Boris Johnson, which he then replaced with a garden bridge that was never built and a ski lift that was never used. There's the East London River crossing that again had much of the infrastructure put into place but was never completed due to the construction of London Airport. And then there was the Belvedere crossing, which was meant to follow the Thames Gateway but was quietly shelved in 2016. If I was ever allowed to put my 2 cents in, I'd change that and put these in as pedestrian crossings, cycle highways, tram extensions, or even rail tunnels. It's not about stopping development, it's about doing it right. If you build for cars, you get congestion. If you build for people, you get a future. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed today's video, please hit that like and subscribe button. It all helps the channel, but it also pushes content like this. And once again, I'd like to say a big thank you to all of my Patreon and YouTube subscribers who keep this channel going and growing. If you'd like to become one, there's a link in the description, or you can just buy me a coffee. Once again, thanks for listening. Bye for now.